Hey everyone, it is Dani and welcome to this updated video on the tropics. And so in this video we will be talking about our two tropical cyclones as well as that area that is highlighted in the Caribbean extended out into the Atlantic. And so before I go into details, please do subscribe and tap the notification bell so that you never miss an important update. And to show support for the channel, you can leave a like on this video. Okay, and so let's go ahead and kickstart things with our tropical cyclones. So first up, we have Tropical Storm Martin, and so Martin is expected to intensify as it's going to be making its way up to the northeast, and so current winds are 65 miles per hour, and the cyclone is accelerating up to the east-northeast at 15 miles per hour. And so it is expected to become post-tropical as we're going to be heading into Thursday, and then it is likely to loiter a bit out there, and it could even still be a post-tropical cyclone as we're going to be heading into Monday, and it could make its way a bit close to Ireland and the UK. So if it has enough activity associated with it, it could bring some impacts to those areas as we're going to be heading into early next week. And so next, let's go ahead and talk about Lisa. And so here we have a view of the basin right now. So we're going back to the satellite imagery here, and we see Lisa barreling towards the coast of Belize, and it is going to be bringing very significant impacts to Belize and other surrounding countries. And all of that activity in association with Lisa is affecting areas as far as Jamaica, because here yesterday in my area there was a lot of heavy rainfall, and it was heavy and intermittent in my area because of course it was from those outer bands of the cyclone. But eventually conditions have improved. This morning is a little bit cloudy across my area, but there is a good chance that later today other areas of Jamaica are going to be feeling some impacts in terms of some rainfall, and that is most probable in the afternoon hours. And so looking at the cone forecast here, we're seeing that there are quite a bit of warnings that are in place for sections of the Yucatan, the entire coast of Belize, the Bay Islands of Honduras, and the northern coast of Honduras. And so all of these states and so all these countries are going to be feeling impacts from Lisa as it accelerates inland. But once it does, it is expected to rapidly weaken, and that is because it is going to be cut off from its source of fuel, which is those very warm ocean waters. So without that, we're not going to be seeing too much happen with the system, and so it is likely to become a depression maybe by Friday. However, it is a possibility that the cyclone is going to enter the Bay of Campeche. And if it does, and there are warm ocean waters there, and the wind shear is not too bad, then we could see some re-intensification of the system. And this is when it could become a significant rainmaker for southern Mexico, because if it is just there, gaining strength, loitering around, it is going to be bringing all that rainfall back inland into Mexico. So by the end of this week, going to early next week, let's see what's going to be happening with the system. But of course, if you're in southern Mexico, you want to be aware of this possibility. And so guys, now let's go ahead and talk about this area that is highlighted. And so we see this area, and a broad low pressure area is expected to form within this region here from the Caribbean going out into the Atlantic, and some models are picking up on some development taking place within this area here, but only time will tell. And I mean, this October and November are a lot more active than last year, because I believe there was only one system in October of last year, and that was it for the hurricane season. But now we're having a bit more activity this year, and I definitely think that we can see another named storm. So the next name after Martin is Nicole, and we are possibly going to be having that name being used as we're going to be heading into the next week or so if the system develops within the area. However, once that low pressure area forms, then it could make its way over portions of the northeastern Caribbean and bring along with it a lot of rainfall. But of course, that is for the long term, and we're not seeing that X to show the location of where that system is, because again, that low pressure area hasn't yet developed. But once it does, we're going to be seeing that X to show where it is located. And so only time will tell. As I said, it's going to be eventually happening, guys, but of course I'm going to be keeping you updated as we progress throughout the rest of the hurricane season. And then in terms of current conditions across the region, let's go ahead and look at sea surface temperatures, and we're seeing here that the Gulf of Mexico is cooling. So we're looking at this map here for the western Atlantic, and the Gulf of Mexico is cooling, and this is going to be the trend as we progress into the season of winter. And the Caribbean, of course, the tropics are warm all year round, so though the temperature will decrease a bit, it won't be any significant decrease across the region. So the Caribbean is quite favorable, and I mean, this is the time of year to watch the area for those little spinners coming up from the South Caribbean or from the region of Central America and possibly developing. So that is what we're seeing now with that expected low pressure area, and there can be a lot of changes between now and then, so what models are showing now doesn't necessarily have to be the outcome, but it is definitely an area that we'll have to watch, especially since islands of the Northern Caribbean are actually highlighted here. And so once, as I said, once that low pressure area forms, it is likely to induce a lot of shower activities. And so guys, next we want to go ahead and look at the wind shear, and we're seeing here that we have these different colors. The red indicates unfavorable wind shear, the yellow means neutral, and the green means favorable. And so we're seeing here that we have Lisa in a region that is not the most favorable right now. So if we go back to the satellite imagery of Lisa, we're going to be seeing here that the system isn't the most organized right now. It's not looking wonderful, but it is getting stronger, and it is going to be moving inland as well, so it won't have much time to really improve in organization. But it is a strong tropical cyclone, and the more disorganized it gets, the more widespread that rainfall activity in association with it is going to be. But of course, as we're going to be heading into the next couple of days, as I said, the cyclone is going to be making its way inland, and it is likely going to be weakening and not dissipating, because if it merges over into the Bay of Campeche and gains some strength, then it's not likely that we'll be seeing a system that dissipates. However, if it eventually makes its way into the Eastern Pacific, are still retaining its name, then it could possibly strengthen there in the presence of conducive conditions. However, if it dissipates and the remnants make their way into the Eastern Pacific and they redevelop, then it will acquire the name from the Eastern Pacific. I believe the next name is Seymour. So let's see what's going to be happening with this system, guys. But of course, I'll keep you updated, and stay safe if you're to be affected or being impacted right now by the system, because a lot of heavy rainfall, a lot of flooding is likely across diverse regions in Central America once Lisa is going to be making its way inland. It is a possibility that Lisa could actually reach hurricane status, because it is almost there. Winds are 70 miles per hour. So there is a good chance that it could actually become a Category 1 hurricane just before it makes landfall later today. And so that is it for now. And if you have any questions, you can leave them down in the comments, and you can also share your thoughts there. And of course, remember to always be weatherwise.